Elections in France, that's the big one. But there's another election in Greece also, and that's the one you may really need to pay attention to. Richard Barley is with us from London to tell us about the Greek elections. Morning, Richard, or good afternoon to you over there.
Good afternoon and good morning.
So the French election really has everyone's attention. Why is Greece perhaps even more important, though?
Well, I think the thing with the Greek elections is that they are very unpredictable. We have 32 parties standing. Of those, the last poll we have for Greece is in mid-April. They have a blackout for 2 weeks before the election. On the basis of that last poll, 10 parties could make it into Parliament. And it's by no means clear what the balance of power will be.
10 parties, that's ridiculous. I mean, now as I understand it, right, tell me who's a Greek politician who said that they will try to renegotiate their bailout deal. Is that on the table pending the outcome of this election? Where does that stand? Samaras?
Well,
was it Samaras?
Yes, he has talked about renegotiating it. Of the 10 parties who are likely to get in Parliament, 7 oppose the IMF deal, and 2 of them actually want to leave the euro. They are smaller parties, but even the big 2 parties, PASOK and New Democracy, are talking about changing elements of the bailout package, either extend it over time, changing some of the focus. Now, it's by no means clear that the IMF is prepared for this. In fact, the IMF is looking for more spending cuts to be implemented very swiftly after the election.
Now, Richard, I mean, Greece has obviously been on the leading edge of all this. They've been on the leading edge of needing the bailouts, of the failure of the economy. Are they now on the leading edge of the backlash against the austerity, the harsh terms that they've been forced to take? Are we going to start seeing this same thing in Portugal and Ireland? Fights against austerity in Spain, the Netherlands? I mean, is this the leading edge? Is that why this Greek election is important?
Well, I think that there's some differing issues there. I think in Greece the downturn is so steep. Unemployment is now above 20%. Youth unemployment is above 50%. There obviously is a real debate about what the right course of action is. In Ireland and Portugal, I don't have the sense that is happening yet. There is far more support for the government programs. Admittedly, Portugal, we have yet to see really what the extent of the downturn is, but Ireland has been undertaking measures like this since 2009. I think they're unlikely to give up now, particularly given they are getting towards being able to return to bond markets, perhaps even this year. In Europe, though, things are more finely balanced. There definitely is a debate going on about growth against austerity. The problem is that for Germany and the European Central Bank, growth comes down to doing more structural reform. And in the near term, structural reform is actually likely to cause higher unemployment and perhaps slower growth. But in the medium term, it should produce better results.
Now, we've heard this many times that the idea of one of these nations leaving the euro is unthinkable. It's unthinkable. Will this election make it more thinkable that maybe Greece would leave the euro? And once that door is opened, are we going to start hearing more about the breakup of the euro?
I'm sure the debate could come back to the boiling point again, particularly if we end up with political paralysis in Greece and the Eurozone and the IMF decide that they can't continue disbursing bailout cash. Greece could run out of money quite quickly at that point, and I'm sure that will put a euro exit back on the cards. At that point, it is very difficult to see what happens. It's likely that the markets would start to think again about who might be next after that, and the debate would start going. But it's important to remember, though, that even within Greece, I think the last poll we had was about 80% of the population wanted to stay in the euro. And I think across Europe, you shouldn't underestimate the attachment politicians have to the euro and their desire to make it work.
All right. Hey, quickly, Richard, before we go, handicap Sunday's French election for me. Who's going to win?
The polls say it's Hollande, but the last poll that was out started to get close. So if the problem might be, though, that if Sarkozy does pull off a surprise win, we then have parliamentary elections about a month later. If he ends up with a house that is dominated by socialists, we could end up with a whole new set of problems in France.
All right, Richard Barley, I'm sure you're going to have a good weekend, right? I get to just sit back and just kind of watch it. You'll probably be working all weekend. Sorry for you. But have a good weekend, Richard.